Move in with me. I want you in my space, in my life, every single day.
Angela's breath caught as Kang Ha-jin, the man who saved her life, the criminal who was ready to die for her, the most dangerous man in New York, lay in a hospital bed, asking her to move in with him. No more going back to your apartment alone, he continued, his voice urgent despite his weakness. No more pretending we can do this halfway. Move in. The words should have felt like a commitment, like safety. Instead, they felt like falling without a parachute. Angela had fallen for a man who ordered people killed, and the terrifying part, she wanted to say yes. But wait, we're getting ahead of ourselves, because weeks ago, Angela was just a non-profit worker in an emerald dress and a corset so tight she literally couldn't breathe, while New York's elite sipped champagne and ignored her dying. She had no idea a stranger would save her that day. No idea he ran a Korean crime organization, and no idea that falling for Kang Ha-jin would mean choosing between the truth and her safety. Right now, Angela Okiki was standing at the edge of the Manhattan Grand Ballroom, one hand pressed against the marble pillar, the other clutching her ribs through emerald silk. She couldn't breathe. Not metaphorically, not dramatically, literally couldn't pull air into her lungs. The corset her stylist had laced that evening was strangling her from the inside out. The gala swirled around her, New York's elite mingled beneath crystal chandeliers, their laughter sharp. Angela tried to smile, tried to look like she belonged here representing her non-profit, but her lungs were collapsing. The burning dug into her ribs like steel bars. She was dying, slowly, publicly, and no one noticed. You're not breathing. A voice cut through her panic. Deep, male, calm. Come with me, now. A hand closed around her elbow. Angela's oxygen-starved brain screamed at her to pull away, but her body was shutting down. When the stranger guided her toward a side exit, she followed because she had no choice. Down a service corridor, past coat check. Through a door marked private. Cold November air hit her face like salvation. Turn around, the man said. Survival instincts kicked in. Angela spun, back against the railing, ready to scream. But he'd already stepped back. Korean, early 30s, black suit that looked custom-made, face all sharp angles, and eyes that were dark as the night. Your corset is too tight, he said. You're going to pass out. I can help, or I can get a woman from inside, but we need to do something now. Angela's vision blurred. Help! He moved behind her. Tell me if I hurt you. His fingers found the laces, loosening them with practiced efficiency. The pressure released. Angela sucked in a desperate breath, then another, her whole body trembling as oxygen flooded back. Slowly, he cautioned. Don't hyperventilate. She gripped the railing as the world stopped spinning. Behind her, he stepped back again, maintaining distance. Better? She turned, cheeks burning. Yes, thank you. Fashion shouldn't require a medical degree. Something almost like amusement flickered across his face. You looked like you were dying in there. I was dying in there. But you stood there trying to look fine, trying so hard to smile and blend in. He leaned against the wall, studying her. Most people would have caused a scene. I can't afford to cause scenes. I'm here representing my non-profit. My boss would kill me if I embarrassed us. His jaw tightened. Your boss is an idiot. I won't argue with you there. It is partly my fault as well, she said with a smile. Maybe, but you stood there suffering in silence because you didn't want to disappoint anyone. That kind of strength is rare. He paused. Stupid but rare. Something about the way he said it made her breath catch again. There was recognition in his voice, like he knew exactly what it meant to smile while drowning. I'm Angela Okiki, Kang Ha-jin. He didn't offer his hand. She appreciated that. That's a nice name. You're Korean. Yes, I was born in Seoul. Raised here, though. His expression flickered. What about you? Where are you from? Nigeria, but I was raised in Atlanta. Moved to New York 3 years ago. Angela pulled her shawl tighter, suddenly aware she was alone on a dark balcony with a complete stranger. But oddly, she didn't feel afraid. You should go back inside, he said. They'll miss you. They won't. I'm the diversity hire they wheel out for events like this. Nobody actually cares if I'm there. Harjin's expression darkened. Then they're fools. The conviction in that simple statement made her throat tighten. When was the last time someone had defended her like that? I should let you get back to whoever you came with. I came alone. I don't usually stay long at these things. He reached into his jacket, pulling out a sleek black card. But I'm glad I came tonight. He held it out. Angela took it, fingers brushing his briefly. Simple, expensive. Just a name and an address and a phone number. No company, no title. Give me a call. We should sit down and talk some more. Harjin said quietly. He walked past her, back into the building, leaving Angela alone with a card that felt like it was burning through her palm. She should throw it away. She'd escaped one dangerous man already. She had to leave Atlanta to get away from Reese and his smiling cruelty. The last thing she needed was another stranger who made her feel things she couldn't afford to feel. But 3 days later, Angela stood outside the address on the card, finger hovering over the buzzer for the penthouse. She'd told herself she wasn't coming. Told herself 100 times. But when she called him and heard his voice and remembered how he had looked at her, Angela pressed the buzzer. Silence. Then, please come up. His voice crackled through the intercom, rough like he'd been holding his breath. The elevator ride felt like descending into deep water. What was she doing? She didn't know this man. He could be anyone, anything. But when the doors opened and Harjin stood there in jeans and a black sweater, looking somehow more dangerous without the formal wear, Angela stepped out anyway. You came. A slight smile touched his lips. Come in. The penthouse was stunning. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked Manhattan, the city spreading out like scattered diamonds. Can I offer you something to drink? Harjin asked. Water, please. He poured her a glass. Sit. I'm making dinner. Ever had Korean food? You cook? Is that surprising? A little. Most men I know can barely boil water. I have to say they are missing out. She laughed despite herself. He moved through the kitchen with easy efficiency. They talked while he cooked. He asked about her work, seemed genuinely interested. Angela found herself relaxing, words flowing more freely than they had in months. What about you? She asked. What do you do? Harjin's hands stilled over the cutting board. I run a family business. What kind of business? He set down the knife, turned to face her. The air shifted. Before I answer that, I need to know something. Angela's stomach tightened. What? If I tell you the truth, are you going to run? Her pulse kicked up. Run from what? From who I am. Harjin leaned against the counter. I like you, Angela. I liked you the moment I saw you at that gala, but I won't lie to you, so I'm asking, can you handle the truth? Every instinct screamed at her to leave, to walk out that door and never look back. But she stayed. Maybe it was curiosity or the intensity in his eyes and the desperate need to understand why this stranger felt like the first real thing she'd experienced in years. Tell me, Angela said quietly. Hae-jin took a slow breath. My family runs an organization, Korean organized crime here in New York. My father built it when he died 2 years ago. I inherited it, all of it. The money, the territory, the blood. He paused. I'm what most people would call a gangster, Angela. A criminal. The man who saved you at that gala. He's the same man who orders people hurt when they cross him. The room spun, but this time it had nothing to do with corsets or oxygen. Angela stared at him, her mind racing. She should run, should grab her bag and bolt for that elevator. But she didn't. Say something, Ha-jin said quietly. I don't know what to say. Angela's voice came out steadier than she felt. You're telling me you're… what? A mob boss? Essentially, yes. And you're telling me why? Most criminals don't exactly advertise. Because I want you to know what you're getting into if you stay. Ha-jin moved closer, but stopped several feet away. I won't lie to you, Angela. My hands are not clean. I've done things I'm not proud of. But I have rules. No human trafficking. I try to minimize harm where I can. Try to minimize harm. Angela's laugh came out bitter. You're a criminal justifying crime. I'm a man trying to survive the life I inherited. His voice hardened slightly. I didn't choose this, but I can choose how I do it. And I can choose to be honest with the first woman who's made me feel anything real in years. Angela stood. Her hands were shaking. I need air. She stepped outside to the balcony, gripping the railing. One question kept replaying in her mind. Why wasn't she running? The door opened behind her. Ha-jin stepped out but kept his distance. You should go, he said quietly. I'll call you a car. I don't want a car. Angela turned to face him. I want answers. Ask, how many people have you hurt? Ha-jin didn't flinch. More than I can count. Have you killed anyone? No, but I've ordered deaths. His voice was steady, unflinching. I'm not proud of it. Why me? The question burst out of her. You could have any woman in this city. Why tell me all this? Why risk it? Ha-jin's expression shifted, softened. Because you're unique. At that gala, you didn't know who I was, what I controlled, how much I was worth. You just saw a man helping you out, he said. Angela's throat tightened. I saw someone who understood what it's like to suffer in silence. Exactly. Ha-jin took another step closer. So, I'm asking you now, Angela. Can you handle this? Can you handle me? She should say no, should walk away, but instead she heard herself say, my past relationship was messy. Reese was perfect on paper. Successful lawyer, charming. Everyone loved him. She laughed bitterly. He was also a master manipulator. He never hit me, but he didn't need to. He destroyed me with words. Ha-jin's jaw tightened. What did he do? He isolated me from my friends, made me doubt every decision, told me I was too emotional, too dramatic, too much. Angela's voice cracked. He convinced me I was lucky he put up with me, that no one else would want someone as broken as I was. Where is he now? Atlanta, I hope. Angela met his eyes. I left everything. I moved over here to disappear, because staying meant dying slowly, and I didn't sign up for that. Ha-jin was silent for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was rough with barely controlled anger. If I ever see him, he's a dead man. Ha-jin! I mean it. He moved closer, close enough that she could feel his warmth. You rebuilt yourself from nothing. That takes more strength than anything I've ever done. And if anyone tries to take that from you again… He stopped himself. I'm sorry, that's not helpful. No. Angela surprised herself by reaching out, touching his arm. It is. Because for years I've been terrified, afraid he'd find me, afraid I'd never be safe, afraid to let anyone close because what if I chose wrong again? She looked up at him. But you're not hiding who you are. You're not pretending to be something you're not. I'm a criminal, Angela. I know. And somehow that's less terrifying than the man who promised to love me while he destroyed me. Ha-jin covered her hand with his. I can't promise you safety, My world is dangerous, but I can promise you honesty. Always. That's all I'm asking. Over the next month, they fell into a rhythm. Late-night dinners at his penthouse, where they did nothing but talk. Walks through Central Park at 2 a.m. when the city finally slept and no one could see them. Questions asked and answered honestly, no matter how dark the truth. Angela learned that Harjin's father had been ruthless, that his 2 older brothers had died in territorial wars before Harjin turned 25, that he'd taken over the organization to prevent more bloodshed, to create stability in chaos. Harjin learned that Angela had grown up in Lagos until she was 12, that her mother had moved them to Atlanta for better opportunities, that she'd lost herself in Reese's shadow and clawed her way back one painful day at a time. They didn't talk about the future, didn't define what they were, just existed in stolen moments where the rest of the world couldn't touch them. They shared their first kiss on one of their late-night conversations, desperate and real and tasting like truth. 2 months passed. The kiss led to more kisses, to nights spent tangled together, talking until dawn, to Angela keeping a drawer at his place and Harjin learning which coffee she preferred. Then everything changed. Harjin arrived 3 hours late to their dinner, his expression haunted. Angela knew immediately something was wrong. "What happened?" she asked. "It's nothing. Don't worry about it." He poured himself a drink, drank it in one swallow, poured another. "I know you and I know when something is wrong. We promise to always tell each other the truth. Please tell me." "I ordered someone killed today." The room went cold. Angela set down her fork carefully. "What? I want to know everything that happened. One of my men, he was selling information to our rivals, planning to betray us during a major deal next week." Harjin's voice was hollow. "I tried everything else, offered him money to leave, threatened him, gave him chances." He looked at her, but he wouldn't stop. Angela's hands were shaking. "So you killed him?" "I ordered it. Someone else pulled the trigger. But yes, his blood is on my hands." This was different from abstract conversations about his world. This was real, recent. A man had died today because Harjin had decided he should. How can I love someone who kills? The word hung between them. Love. She'd said it, out loud. Harjin set down his glass slowly. "What did you say?" "You heard me." Angela's voice was shaking now. Anger and fear and love all tangled together. "I'm in love with you, and I hate that I am, because how can I love someone who orders people killed? How can I—" Her voice broke. "Angela!" "No." She grabbed her bag. "I need to think. I need to figure out if I can actually do this, or if I'm just lying to myself again. Don't compare me to Reese." "I'm not. That's the problem." Angela headed for the door. "Reese lied about who he was. You're telling me the truth. And the truth is that you're a killer. And I'm still here. What does that make me?" She left before he could answer. Angela just walked out on the man she loves, not because he lied to her, not because he cheated, but because he told her the truth. But she wasn't ready for that truth. You felt that pain, didn't you? The way she accidentally said, "I love you," while trying to figure out how to leave him. The way Harjin didn't apologize or make excuses, just stood there and admitted his hands will never be clean. If you're invested in whether Angela comes back or walks away forever, smash that like button right now and stay till the end, because this story is not one of your regulars. Subscribe to the channel for more stories where honesty cuts deeper than lies, where mafia bosses don't hide who they are, and where love is tested by truth instead of betrayal. Drop a comment. Could you love someone like Harjin? Back to the story, because what happens next will put both their lives on the line. Angela had spent the past 8 days like a shadow. She went to work, came home, stared at her phone, and didn't call back. Her boss, Sharon, noticed the dark circles under her eyes but didn't ask. Angela was grateful for that. How could she explain that she was in love with a mobster? That she'd run away because the truth of who he was had finally become real. Every night, she stood in her apartment holding her phone, Harjin's name on the screen. Every night, she put the phone down without calling. She didn't know if she was being smart or cowardly. Maybe both. One night, Angela worked late at her office, reviewing grant applications until her eyes burned. The building was empty when she finally locked up and stepped onto the dark street. The black van appeared out of nowhere. Angela barely had time to scream before hands grabbed her, yanking her off her feet. A cloth covered her mouth and nose, chemical smell. Her vision blurred, then nothing. She woke in a warehouse, her head pounding. Concrete floor, rust and oil in the air. Her hands were zip-tied behind her back, ankles bound to a metal chair. She's awake! A man's voice, accented, Korean. Angela's vision cleared. 5 men surrounded her. The one in front wore an expensive suit, his face scarred along the left cheek. He smiled, but it was the smile of a predator. Ms. Okeki, I'm Park Dae-jung. You probably know me as the man who wants Kang Ha-jin dead. Angela's blood turned to ice. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't insult me. Dae-jung crouched in front of her. We've been watching you for weeks. Ha-jin's little girlfriend, the woman who makes him human. He laughed. He thinks he can run his organization with rules and mercy. What do you want? I want Ha-jin dead, and you're going to help me. Dae-jung stood, pulling out his phone. He'll come for you, and when he does, we'll kill him. Then I'll take over what should have been mine from the beginning. He won't come. Angela's voice shook, but she kept talking. We're not together anymore. He won't risk his life for me. Dae-jung's smile widened. We'll see. He made the call on speaker. Ha-jin answered on the first ring. What? Kang Ha-jin, I have something of yours. Say hello to Angela. Silence. Then Ha-jin's voice, deadly calm. If you hurt her, I'll kill you. Big talk for a man with no leverage. Dae-jung walked a circle around Angela's chair. Here's how this works. You come alone to the old steel mill on the waterfront. Pier 47. 1 hour. You come alone, or I start cutting pieces off her. I'll be there. Alone, Ha-jin. I have men watching every approach. I see your soldiers. She dies. Understood. Understood. The line went dead. Dae-jung pocketed his phone, looking pleased. Angela's mind raced. Ha-jin was walking into a trap. He had to know that. But he was coming anyway. Because of her. Ha-jin stood in his penthouse, phone still in his hand. Seo-jun burst through the door, Min-jun right behind him. We heard, Seo-jun said. We're mobilizing everyone. We'll hit them from 3 sides. No. Ha-jin's voice was flat. I'm going alone. That's suicide, boss, Min-jun snapped. He wants you dead. This is obviously a trap. I know it's a trap. Ha-jin grabbed his jacket. That's why I'm going alone. He said if he sees any of you, he kills her. I cannot take that risk. So we let him kill you instead. Seo-jun stepped in front of the door. Ha-jin, I've followed you for 5 years. Watched you turn this organization into something better than what your father left. I'm not letting you throw it all away for the woman I love. Ha-jin's eyes blazed. Get out of my way, Seo-jun. They stared at each other. Finally, Seo-jun stepped aside. Fine. Go alone. Seo-jun went ahead and called for a meeting after Ha-jin left. We are going after the boss. If he thinks we are going to let him die, then he must be insane. 50 minutes later, headlights cut through the warehouse darkness. A single car. Ha-jin stepped out alone, hands visible, no weapons. Dae-jung's men moved into position, guns trained on him. Dae-jung dragged Angela to her feet, knife against her throat. Far enough, Dae-jung called out. Ha-jin stopped 20 feet away. His eyes found Angela's. Even in the dim light, she could see the fury and fear warring in his expression. Let her go, Ha-jin said. You want me? Fine, I'm here. Let her walk away. Why would I do that? Dae-jung pressed the knife harder against Angela's skin. You took everything from my family. Now I'll rebuild it on your corpse. Your father was a coward who trafficked children. Ha-jin's voice was ice. I gave him a chance to leave the city alive. He chose wrong. And now you'll die for it. Dae-jung shoved Angela forward. She stumbled, hands still bound. Here's your girlfriend. Come get her. Ha-jin moved toward Angela slowly. Their eyes locked. She saw him mouth 2 words. I'm sorry. Then everything happened at once. Dae-jung raised his gun. His men did the same. Ha-jin would be dead in seconds. Gunfire erupted from the shadows. Ha-jin's men burst from cover behind shipping containers, weapons blazing. Seo-jun led the charge, his face twisted in fury. They'd followed him, disobeyed his orders because they refused to let him die. Dae-jung's men scattered, returning fire. The warehouse became a war zone. Ha-jin ran to Angela and was about to lead her to safety, but he saw Dae-jung turn his gun toward Angela, saw him pull the trigger. Ha-jin threw himself in front of her as the bullet left the chamber, then another. He crashed into Angela, his weight taking them both to the ground. Blood bloomed across his white shirt, spreading fast. Ha-jin! Angela screamed. The gunfire intensified. Ha-jin's men fought with brutal efficiency. Dae-jung tried to run, but Seo-jun put 3 bullets in his chest. The other men fell one by one. No mercy, no prisoners. Within 2 minutes, it was over. They were eliminated. But Ha-jin was bleeding out on the warehouse floor. Stay with me, Angela sobbed, her bound hands useless. Min-jun cut her free. She pressed her hands against the wounds in Ha-jin's chest, trying to stop the bleeding. Please stay with me, please. Ha-jin's eyes fluttered open. He smiled weakly. I told you. I'd be honest. About the danger. Shut up. Save your strength. Tears streamed down Angela's face. You're not dying. I won't let you. Angela. His hand found hers, blood-slicked. I love you too. In case I don't get to say it again. No, you're going to say it 1,000 more times. She heard sirens in the distance. Seo-jun had called for help. You're going to live. You hear me? You're going to live because I love you too, and we're not done yet. Ha-jin's eyes closed. No, no, stay awake. Angela shook him. Ha-jin! Seo-jun appeared beside her, phone pressed to his ear. Ambulance is 2 minutes out. He's strong. He'll make it. But Angela couldn't stop shaking, couldn't stop seeing the moment Ha-jin had thrown himself in front of those bullets. For her. He'd walked into a trap alone, knowing he'd probably die, because she was worth it. The ambulance arrived, paramedics swarmed. They pulled Angela away from Ha-jin, loaded him onto a stretcher. The ambulance screamed through New York streets. Paramedics worked frantically. IV lines and oxygen and pressure. On wounds. Angela held Ha-jin's hand the entire time, squeezing it like she could keep him tethered to life through touch alone. They burst through emergency room doors. Doctors descended. Someone tried to pull Angela away, but she wouldn't let go of Ha-jin's hand until a nurse gently pried her fingers loose. We need to take him to surgery now, the nurse said. You can't come. We'll update you as soon as we can. They wheeled Ha-jin through double doors. Angela stood frozen in the emergency room, covered in his blood, shaking uncontrollably. Seo-jun appeared with a blanket, wrapping it around her shoulders. Come on. Let's get you cleaned up. Then we wait. I can't lose him, Angela whispered. I just found him. I can't lose him. You won't. but his voice was tight with fear too. Hajin survived worse. He'll survive this. 3 hours passed. Then 4. Angela sat in the surgical waiting room, having washed Hajin's blood from her hands, but unable to wash away the memory of him bleeding on that warehouse floor. Seo Jun was there. Min Jun and others from the organization. They didn't speak much, just waited. Finally, a surgeon emerged. "Family of Kang Ha-jin." Everyone stood at once. The surgeon looked exhausted. "He's alive." We removed 2 bullets, one from his chest, the other from his abdomen. He's lost a lot of blood and there was some internal damage, but we've stabilized him. The next 24 hours are critical, but I'm cautiously optimistic. Angela's legs went weak. Seo Jun caught her. "Can we see him?" "He's in the ICU. Immediate family only. One at a time." Seo Jun looked at Angela. "She's family. She goes first." The surgeon nodded. "Follow me." The ICU was all beeping machines and hushed voices. The surgeon led Angela to a room where Ha-jin lay unconscious, tubes and wires running from his body. His face was pale, his breathing assisted by a ventilator, but he was alive. Angela collapsed into the chair beside his bed, taking his hand carefully, mindful of the IV line. "I'm here," she whispered. "I'm right here, and I'm not leaving. Not ever again." Hajin's fingers twitched against hers, just barely, but it was enough. Angela pressed her forehead to their joined hands and cried. She didn't leave the hospital for 3 days. She slept in the chair beside Hajin's bed, ate vending machine food, and refused to go home, even when Seo Jun offered to stay in her place. The nurses stopped trying to enforce visiting hours after the first night. They saw the way she held Hajin's hand, like letting go would kill him. Finally, Hajin's eyes opened. "Angela!" His voice was rough, barely a whisper. She was on her feet instantly, leaning over him. "I'm here. I'm right here." He tried to smile, still breathing. "Told you I would." Angela laughed through tears. "You idiot. You absolute idiot." She pressed her forehead to his carefully, mindful of the tubes. "You almost died." "But I didn't." His hand found hers, grip weak but steady. "Because I had a reason to live." "Hajin, I'm sorry." His eyes held hers. "I'm sorry I brought this into your life. I'm sorry you got hurt because of me. I'm sorry." "Stop." Angela's voice broke. "Just stop. I'm the one who should apologize. I left you. I walked away when things got hard because I was afraid. You had every right to be afraid. No, I was afraid of loving someone dangerous." She squeezed his hand. "But losing you was more terrifying than anything you've ever done. Watching you bleed out on that floor, thinking I'd never get to tell you I was wrong, that I was an idiot for leaving." Her voice cracked completely. Hajin pulled her closer with what little strength he had. "I don't want to be the thing that scares you. You're not." Angela looked at him through tears. "You're the thing that makes me feel safe, even in your world, even with all the danger. I feel safer with you than I ever did hiding alone." "Angela, I love you." She said it clearly, firmly. "I love you, and I'm not running anymore. I don't care what comes. I'm staying." Hajin's eyes shone. "I love you too. God, I love you so much." They stayed like that, foreheads pressed together, breathing in sync, until a nurse came to check vitals and gently shooed Angela back to her chair. 2 weeks later, Hajin was moved out of ICU. 3 weeks after that, the doctors cleared him to go home. He still moved carefully, healing scars pulling with every motion, but he was alive, whole. The night before his discharge, Hajin asked Angela to sit beside him on the hospital bed. "I have something to ask you," he said. Angela tensed. "Okay. Move in with me." She blinked. "What?" "Move in with me." Hajin took her hand. "I almost died without telling you I want you in my space, in my life, every single day. No more going back to your apartment alone at night. No more pretending we can do this halfway. His voice grew urgent. Move in with me. Wake up with me. Angela started crying again. Happy tears this time. Yes. Yes. She laughed through the tears. Yes, I'll move in with you. When you get out of here, I'm never leaving your side again. Get ready to be sick of me. Harjin pulled her into a kiss, gentle because his chest still hurts, but deep and real and full of promise. 6 months later, Angela stood in the penthouse kitchen watching Harjin cook dinner. Her plants lined the windowsill now, thriving in the afternoon sun. Her books crowded his shelves. Their photos hung on the walls beside his. The space that had once been just his was now unmistakably theirs. Stop staring and come taste this, Harjin called over his shoulder. Angela walked over, letting him feed her a spoonful of japchae. Perfect. You say that every time, because it's true every time. She leaned against the counter. You know what Seo Jun told me today? What? He said you've been working on legitimate business deals, real estate. Angela studied his face. You're really doing it, moving away from your father's world. Harjin set down the spoon. I told you I'd try to be better. I meant it. I know. She touched his face. I'm proud of you. It's slow, and I'll probably never be completely clean, but I'm trying. He covered her hand with his. For you. For us. For you too, Angela said softly. You deserve a life that doesn't suffocate you. They ate dinner together, talking about Angela's latest housing project and Harjin's meeting with a property developer. Normal conversations. Domestic life. It still felt surreal sometimes, that she'd gone from nearly dying in a corset to building a life with a man who'd taken bullets for her. After dinner, Angela washed dishes while Harjin dried. She was humming to herself, content, when she turned and found him on one knee. Her heart stopped. Harjin. He pulled out a small velvet box. Inside sat a simple diamond ring, elegant and understated. Angela, you saved me. You've been saving me since I met you. Angela's hands flew to her mouth. You taught me I could choose who I want to be, even inside the life I inherited. Harjin continued, his voice steady despite the emotion in his eyes. You looked at me, really looked at me, and saw someone worth loving despite everything I've done. Tears streamed down Angela's face. I can't promise you a safe life, Harjin said. I can't promise there won't be danger or complications or moments that test us, but I can promise you an honest one. I can promise I'll never lie to you, never hide from you, never be anything but exactly who I am. He paused. Will you marry me? Angela dropped to her knees in front of him, taking his face in her hands. You taught me that safety isn't hiding, it's being seen completely. And loved anyway. You showed me that strength isn't surviving alone, it's choosing to be vulnerable with someone who'll protect that vulnerability. She laughed through her tears. I don't want perfect, Harjin. I don't want it to be easy. I want real. I want you. Is that a yes? Yes, so enough with the speech and put the ring on my finger and kiss me, she said, laughing. Harjin slid the ring onto her finger with shaking hands. It fit perfectly. He pulled her close, kissing her deeply, pouring everything he felt into that moment. I can breathe with you, Angela whispered against his lips. You're my oxygen, Harjin whispered back. He wasn't perfect. His hands weren't clean. His world would always carry shadows, but he was real, honest, present, and with him, she could finally breathe. They would figure out the rest later. But tonight, they had this, each other, this moment. And for two people who'd spent so long suffocating, that was more than enough. It was everything. The end. If this story made you realize that sometimes the most dangerous choice is also the most honest one, hit that subscribe button. This channel is where broken people find each other, where love isn't safe but it's real, and where breathing with the right person matters more than surviving alone. Here's my question for you. Would you rather suffocate in safety or breathe freely with someone dangerous? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you were Angela, would you have said yes to that proposal, or would fear have made you run? Tell us what you think, and don't forget to let us know where you're watching from.